Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be finishing 2 more chapters of I Survived series, the San Francisco Earthquake. Today we're going to be reading chapter 3 and chapter 4. So let's get started. Chapter 2. Hand it over, said a raspy voice. Leo didn't have to see the face to know who was talking. It was Fletch Skikes, the most brutal thief in the neighborhood. The other kid had to be Wilkie Barnes, a giant of a boy who went everywhere Fletch did. When Fletch was just 5 years old, the story went, he'd been attacked by a pack of stray dogs. He'd survived, but one of the dogs had bitten his neck. The bite ruined his voice and turned Fletch vicious. Fletch and Wilkie didn't just steal food and pickpockets. Sometimes they beat up kids just for fun. A few months ago, they'd been caught by the police and sent to work a farm up north. Leo heard a rumor that they had escaped. He'd heard that they were hiding out in an old abandoned salon on Raccoon Hill. And now they were back to their old vicious tricks. You can take my money, Leo said, trying not to sound as terrified as he felt. We don't want your money, Wilkie said. The kid was a monster. He had to weigh almost about 300 pounds with smooth, chubby cheeks like a baby with a steel fist. What do you want? Leo asked with his knees shaking. You know, Fletch growled. Leo's heart stopped. Of course he knew. Somehow Fletch had found out about Leo's gold nugget. But how? Leo hadn't told a soul about it except Morris, that little pest of a kid who buzzed around Leo like a fly. Leo had showed him the gold a few weeks ago. He must have blabbed about it to the kids on the street. And the story had gotten back to Fletch and Wilkie. Fletch pushed Leo's face harder into the wall. The bones of Leo's cheek felt like they would crack like the shell of an egg. Take my money, Leo said again. I have more than $1. Take it all. We will, Fletch said with a rasping laugh. But we want the gold too. Hand it over. It was Papa's voice in Leo's head. Leo knew there was no way he could fight these guys, no way to outrun them. Wilkie was the fastest kid in the neighborhood, but that gold had been Papa's prized possession. Leo couldn't just give it up. No, Leo said, summoning up all of his strength. He whirled around and broke free from Fletch's grip. He made about 3 steps before Wilkie caught him back in the shirt and threw him onto the ground. Slam! Leo landed hard, biting his tongue. Hand it over, Fletch shouted in his creepy, strangled voice. No! Leo yelled again. What happened next took only a minute. Wilkie picked up Leo by his shirt, holding him in the air as Fletch emptied Leo's pockets. Then Wilkie threw him into a pile of garbage. The 2 goons walked away laughing. Blood dribbled from Leo's mouth. His head throbbed. But the worst was the searing pain from somewhere deep inside, like something had been ripped out of him. His gold was gone. Chapter 4. Leo had no idea how much time had passed, and then a voice calling his name woke him from the daze. Papa? Leo Ross, where are you? Leo groaned to himself. Morris. Why did that kid constantly pester him? From the first day they met, Morris had acted like they were long-lost brothers. They both lived in the same boarding house. Leo by himself in the tiny basement room. Morris upstairs with his uncle, a sweaty man with a huge stomach who yelled at little girls when they played dolls. Leo got home. Morris was waiting for him at the front door. The kid worked at a grocery store, but he spent every spare second at the public library. He always had some new fact to share with Leo. Leo, did you know that rats live under front steps? Did you know its Latin name is Rattus ratus? Leo, did you know that this neighborhood used to be a swamp? They filled it with old garbage and old wood. Then they built these buildings. Leo, did you know that the San Francisco Live has 1 million books? In Leo's heart, He knew that Morris just wanted to be pals, but Leo didn't need any friends. He especially didn't need a friend like Morris, a skinny twerp who didn't know when to shut up. A kid like that wouldn't do Leo any good. What had Leo been thinking when he showed Morris his gold? He thought back to that night a few weeks ago when Leo had seen Morris sitting alone on the steps of a cigar store near the boarding house. At first, Leo figured he could sneak by and escape Morris for one day, but something was wrong with the kid, and Leo couldn't walk around with seeing what it was. It took Leo some time to get Morris to spit out what was wrong, that his uncle hardly ever was home, that he gambled all of his money away, including the few dimes a day Morris earned at the market. I have to get out of here, Morris said. My ma has cousins in New York City. I met them once. You'd love them, Leo. They're both teachers, and they said I could go to their school. They always said I was welcome there anytime. Why don't you just go? Leo said. Then finally Leo could leave in peace. How? Morris said. I don't have the money to get on a train. My uncle just laughs when I mention it. I'm trapped here. There was no cheering Morris up until Leo reached into his pocket and took out his gold. He handed it to Morris like Papa used to hand it to him. Morris's eyes also almost popped out of his head. Leo told him about Grandpa and how people laughed when he used to talk about one day crossing the wild country by himself. Of course, Leo knew that Morris was nothing like Grandpa, but the story worked like a charm. What was Morris doing out here on the streets looking for him now? Couldn't he mind his own business for one day? Morris was the reason he just lost his gold to Fletch and Wilkie. The reason he was lying bleeding in the alley. Morris was the last person Leo wanted to see. Leo kept quiet, hoping that Morris would move along. But no, Morris kept at it, and suddenly he was crouched down to Leo. I've been looking everywhere for you, he said. I know something must have happened. Morris took out a chef knife and started whipping the caked blood from Leo's face. Whoever did this to you, Morris, I swear I'll get them. Leo would have laughed, but his jaw was too sore. It was Fletch, Skykes, and Wilkie Barnes, Leo mumbled. They stole my gold. Morris gasped. You were the only person I knew about it, Leo added. I didn't tell Fletch about your gold, Morris said. But you told someone, right? Morris's shoulders slumped. I might have mentioned it to some kids at the market, he said. It was such a great story, and I got their attention. Leo shook his head. The kid was so desperate for friends, he spilled Leo's most important secret. He could clobber him, but no person could look sorrier than Morris looked now. Leo sighed, being mad at Morris wasn't going to get his gold back. He let Morris help him stand up. Together they made their way back to the boarding house. Morris jabbered the entire way. I'm going to help you get that gold back, he said as they stepped through the front door. It will be sold by tomorrow, Leo said. Morris frowned. I know, Morris said. That's why we need to get it back tonight. We? Leo said. Now he had to laugh. Morris really thought we could stand a chance next to Fletch and Wilkie. Of course they won't just give it back, Morris said, ignoring Leo's question. We have to trick them somehow. Leo looked at Morris, and right then Morris didn't look such skinny and little twerp. There was a look on his face, a thoughtful and stubborn kind of look that reminded him of Leo, the way President Roosevelt appeared on the front page of today's paper. The only thing was missing was the bushy mustache. But what did Morris really know about the world? There were no books in the library about kids like Fletch and Wilkie. Leo thanked Morris, and before Morris could say another word, Leo hurried down to his tiny basement room, slamming the door behind him. And that we read Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 of I Survived the San Francisco Earthquake. In the next episode, we will be reading Chapter 4 and Chapter 5. Or Chapter 5 and Chapter 6. So if you like this episode of I Survived, please like and subscribe. Bye.